Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Shit is real!
Hold up.
What's up, YouTube? It's Slide Razor here. How have you guys been and how is it going? Hope you all are still safe and are staying safe in this period of corona. So today we're going to be learning how to animate a coronavirus presentation. So as you can see, as it's playing in the background as I'm speaking, this presentation or this video was made in PowerPoint, and I'm going to teach you today how to animate your slides, so at the end of the day you have an end product video like this. Okay, so like this video, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment on the animation that you love, and remember to share this video with your friends. Cue my intro. So before we begin, let's remind ourselves of this coronavirus and remember that we need to stay safe within this period, and remember to wash your hands, remember to wear your mask, remember also to practice social distancing, remember to be healthy, okay? Just stay safe, stay at home, and for all those our friends and family members who have already contracted this deadly virus and those that has lost a loved one, our prayers are with you. Okay, we're definitely going to see this coronavirus to the end, and we're all going to come out healthy and alive. Let's get into the video. So this is the presentation, and it's just a 7-slide presentation. So I'm not going to explain all the animations I did in the 7 slides because I just repeated them. So I'm going to explain, I think, the most important ones, then show you how you can replicate or duplicate these animations in your other slides so that you could work faster and also create slides quicker too with this method. So the first slide is just made up of a couple of animations. Now, before you actually start anything on animations, I have to bring to your notice or to your attention this tab called the animations tab. It's where all your animations are, so this is the tab we're going to be using most of the time. So when you get into your presentation and you want to animate any slide you're working on, you head on over to the animations tab. The next thing you're going to do is to click the animations pane. As you can see, it's okay, it went out, but when you click it, it comes out. It shows you all the animations on each slide. Okay, so right now it's showing you the animations I inserted into this slide, and you can see the total of 5 animations here. Excuse me. So there are 3 types of animations in PowerPoint. You have the entrance animations, the emphasis animations, and the exit animations. Okay, so hold on, let me just show you guys. When you click something like this, okay, so let me do something like this. All right, good. So as you can see, we have the entrance, we've got the emphasis, and we've got the exit. Now PowerPoint also gives you the option to have more entrance effects, more emphasis, more exits. So these animations that are shown here are just like the basic, your go-to quickly, so you could immediately use them. Now if you want more in-depth, advanced, professional animations, you will go to more entrance effects. Okay, they'll give you more, as the name implies. Okay, So we're not going to go into all this right now. I'm just going to show you guys what you need to know, because this is a basic intro. So also included in the animations are motion paths. Okay, now these paths are used for custom animations. When you see all those videos where something slides in from the left, something comes in from, above, beneath, circle, these are the methods to which they're done. You just draw the lines on your screen, or I'm not really going to go into motion paths today, so I'm just going to talk briefly about it, just to give you an idea of what to expect when you use your motion paths animations. So today we're just going to be using the entrance and emphasis animations. I didn't use any exit animations today. I replaced them with transitions. So you could do that, or if you have enough time on your hands, you could use the exit animation. They're just like the reverse of the entrance animations. Okay, so in the first slide, I didn't use any entrance animations for the picture. All I did was I gave it an emphasis animation, which is, I think it was zoom. If I'm okay, it's a grow shrink animation. My bad. So it's this. So we already highlighted previously. So what does this do? Now look at this. When I play this, it kind of zooms into the image. It's like a custom zoom effect. This animation is used mostly on shapes to kind of make them grow big, grow and shrink, from the name grow and shrink. But if you use it on a picture, a big picture like this, you have that zoom in. It's not actually panning, but it's just like a direct zoom. Okay, so to insert animations into your slide, let me quickly duplicate this slide so we'll do it quickly. Duplicate. Now I select all my animations here with Ctrl A, and I delete them. Okay, now I select the image, I go to add animation over here, and I go to grow and shrink. Okay, when you do that, you have something like this. That's all. But from my previous slide, you could see that it grows and it shrinks again. Okay, so you could see there's some tweaks to it. So whenever you insert animation, you have this mouse icon over here showing that it's going to be on click. Now this is going to take us to another part of animating you need to know as a beginner. There are three types of I call them triggers that we use when animating, to kind of signal in when we need the audience to see certain parts of our presentations. Okay, so when you insert an animation, the first thing, or the animation itself, gets a click trigger. That means on click, on mouse click, or when you hit next slide during your presentation, the animation plays. Okay, so you have the option here to change it to on click with previous or after previous. With previous and after previous, they work differently. Okay, let's say we animate this text COVID-19, because we're actually talking about coronavirus. And what animation did we use previously to do it? We used a fade. Okay, so we use an entrance animation for this. So fade. All right, now on default it has the mouse showing it's on click. So now when you talk about with previous, let me show you so it's better. You click this and hit with previous. What happens is, as you hit play both of them, they happen at the same time. That's what with previous is. Okay, now after previous is very self-explanatory, because if this with previous means the same time, after previous means after it. Okay, so that's about these three triggers. Now under each, I call them triggers, but I don't actually know what they're called, but I just call them triggers so you understand what I mean. Now beneath them we have two extra options, duration and delay. Now this is for the duration of your animations. You could leave them, increase them, make them as long as 3 seconds, or you could make them 1 second, all on you. It all depends on what you want to do, but I generally advise you leave them at 1 or minimum 0.5 seconds or 0.75 seconds. It's easier and it kind of makes your work look smooth when you are animating. Okay, now that's that about it. Then beneath is a delay. Now here, when you have two elements on your slides animated and you hit with previous, you notice that they start together. Okay, now you could increase the delay so that the second one comes in. No, sorry, the second one, you could hit the delay so that the second one comes in a bit later. That's what delay is for. For example, I want something you would see more clear. This is fade and I want to animate this, so I'll just click fade as well, make it with previous, and for now we won't animate the image. Okay, it's grow and shrink. I hope we've learned that. So to remove an animation, you just hit delete. It's done. So now I want us to focus on learning how to insert delays into our animations. So first of all, we need to make them both to have no delay. Okay, now when you play both of them, they come in together. Okay, now if we increase or add a bit of delay to the second one, still under with previous trigger, and we play them both, look what happens. You see, COVID-19 comes in before the global pandemic because we've inserted a delay to the global pandemic. Okay, that's basically delay. You could insert this in any form, and we're going to be using it in some of the presentation, in some of the slides I designed just to show you, because wipe doesn't really show it like that, but I think flying shows it more. Okay, so back to our presentation. You could add animations to basically everything on PowerPoint, starting from icons to images to fonts. When I say font, I mean text, to shapes, to art, to whatever it is you can add. You can animate them with PowerPoint. That's why sometimes most of the banners you see, most of the signboard, notice boards, most of those things are done with PowerPoint. Most of them, but you wouldn't know, but most of them are done with PowerPoint through these little animations. Okay, so that's that about this one. The parallelograms are animated using fade, the same thing. Now the boxes I used fade. Okay, everything here is just fade. So fade is an actually important animation for you guys. It's an important entrance animation, so I use it often, so you could use it and apply it. Now look at how it's going to look. Okay, so let me just do it quickly so that we understand. So when you hit the shape, hit add animation, grow and shrink. Okay, now remember that previously I said we had to tweak this a bit. So I want this to start. You could pull which animations you want to start, and I don't want it to be on click. I want it to start with previous, so that immediately I start my slideshow or start projecting this presentation, it starts. I don't need to click the mouse to start it. So now that's done. If you notice, there's a little arrow here that shows you effect options. It brings out the menu where you can select from. So head to effect options. You see that there's smooth end, smooth start, bounce end. Okay, so now for this animation we just need auto reverse. If you want to make it smooth, you can, but I'm going to explain what smooth end and smooth start and bounce end will do in a couple of minutes, but let's just show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so we could see it zooms and shrinks. Okay, but over here you could see that it's different. This is different from this here. Why? Because I changed the timing. I made this start at this particular animation to play till the end of the slide, and you could do that by hitting this place here. Repeat, you just change it to play until end of slide. Now 2 seconds medium, this is like the duration of the animation. It's all up to you. You could play with it, choose anything you want here, but for me I'm just going 2 seconds medium. And I don't need to rewind when done playing because under effect I've already done auto reverse. Okay, so no need for that. That's why PowerPoint automatically turns it off. I can't select this option. So you see, now hit it. Easy. So you could make animations like this, use them for any purpose you see fit. So that's basically what to do in this first slide. And for the shapes, now let me explain something quickly. We have the fade animation on our COVID-19 and the global pandemic. Okay, now we want to add the same animation to these two shapes beneath. Okay, these are two parallelograms. You can find them, head on over to the insert tab and insert them. They are there. So instead of heading over to animations, clicking it, inserting it, you could just select an already animated element. For example, COVID-19. Let's just select COVID-19. Okay, now you see this option here, it's called Animation Painter, or you could use the shortcut Alt-Shift-C. It allows you to copy any animation from any element that has already been animated to a new element. For example, now I've copied the fade and I'm going to click on my parallelogram, and my parallelogram has a fade. Okay, now we just do this. We could do this with previous and increase the delay so that it comes after the text box. Okay, or we could just do after previous and it comes immediately after this, the picture finished the first loop of the growing and shrinking, but that will take some time. So that's why I chose with previous and increase the delay a bit. Okay, now we just do the same thing, Animation Painter to the other shape beneath. Okay, so now when you play everything, let's play everything, play all, we have something like this. Okay, you see, but it's not nice when the text comes in before the shape. It looks a bit weird, if you know what I mean. But look at this, COVID-19 comes in. If this is okay for you, it's fine, but for me, I prefer to let the shapes come in before the text box, then just put a little delay, just little. Okay, then play off. Nice. Okay, that's how you animate slides like this. And why it stops is because it's not in full screen mode, or it's not projected, like it's not in what's it called again, slideshow. Okay, so if you actually project this slide, it's going to keep growing and shrinking until you decide to go to the next slide. That's how to animate. So we've talked about entrance animations such as fade, yep, and emphasis animations such as grow and shrink. You could use any of these animations here: tether, spin, desaturate, darken, lightning. As the name implies, so are their effects, so play with them. So moving on to this slide. Okay, now this slide, we're going to use some entrance animations. I didn't use any emphasis animation here, purely entrance. Okay, so let's play it so that we could see what I'm talking about. COVID-19. Okay, so how did we do all that? First thing is we used flying. Flying is it's an animation that goes like this. From the name flying, it flies in. So let me duplicate and just explain all this quickly. Okay, all right, then over here I'll select all and remove all the animations. So if we're going to animate this, we'll hit flying, or you could hit add animation. So flying. Now when you hit flying, it comes in from below the slide, which is not what we want. We want it coming from the left. So you have the options here. You could hit effect options here and change it, or you could go over here. I believe we could do it from here as well. Effect options. Yes, we can. Then we choose from bottom, from left, from right. Okay, so feel free to choose which suits you. So you just click effect option from left and it comes in. Okay, now we want now I'm going to explain something. Remember from the previous slide, I said something about smooth ends and smooth start. Okay, now without a smooth end, see how this animation looks. Okay, so without smooth end, it just comes in fast like this. Okay, something like this. You could see it's a bit cranky, like it's glitching little. Okay, but when you insert or when you change the effect, you won't find that if this option here under this bar. You have to actually go to this pull down button to find this smooth end and smooth start. So when we go to effect options and you do smooth end, increase it to the end, just then you see the difference. It comes in. It's like this because it's too fast. Let me just make it 1. Okay, then play. You see, it comes in smooth from the from the name smooth end. Smooth, that's it. So all I just did in the previous slide was I used animation painter to duplicate it on the next one. Okay, and for this I used fade. Like I said, repetition of the previous slide. We know how to do this, okay? And I believe at this point you're understanding all these mouse clicks and all these entrance animations. So heading over to this shape, what did I do to this shape? I think I used wipe. Yep, I used wipe. So wipe is another entrance animation, okay? So I selected the shape and I used wipe, and you could see the effect options. I could choose to make the wipe come from the left. Choice is mine. From the right, it comes in like another circle, okay? Or from top, it comes in like this. So I want you to understand that animating in PowerPoint is actually very easy. It all boils down to your creativity. How creative are you? What can you mix up? What can you join together to create something nice? Truth be told, no one can teach you how to do or tell you do it in this way, because you're going to go out there and make different presentations on different topics, and they will require different images and different shapes. So what I'm giving you now is the basic, what you need to know and have at the back of your mind so you could actually create any animation. Okay, so that's how we did this wipe. How we choose to arrange it, it all depends on you. Okay, because that's all I've done here. All I did was I chose everything with previous. To do it faster, you could just hold Control, select everything, and change it here to with previous, and everything's with previous. Now I just increased the delay of each of them. That's all I did. I increased the delay, chose how many minutes, made sure that each appears before each. Okay, so that if I play just all these ones, they come in like this. If I play everything, comes in 1 1 1 1. You see, you play with it. That's PowerPoint. Just play with it. I'm giving you the most important thing to know about animating. Funny enough, you could actually take this idea into any other animation software. Knowing how to place them, adding delays is actually key. Okay, so enough about that. What else did I do? I guess I used wipe for this shape. Yep, I used wipe and made the effect like to come from the right. That's all. And for this text, I use fade. So this is another point. For text, how do I say this? For a large group of text, use fade. For images, fade. Fade works for images. I'm going to show you later. Fade works for images, okay? Look at this picture. What did I use for it? Fade. For this shape over, what did I use for it? Oh, grand turn. Another interest animation. So let's just talk about this one quickly. I wanted this circle to just come from behind, not really like fade. I wanted it to have a little bit of something to it, just to make it different. So watch. You see? So it's under the options, grow and turn. It has no effect options. So bear in mind, not all animations have effect options. Some of them do, some of them don't. So if you choose zoom, when you choose zoom, for instance, you could see that it has effect options. When you choose grow and turn, you could see that it has no effect options. Okay? And for example, as I've changed the animations, it has reverted to having the default on click. So bear that in mind. Whenever you change the animations, you have to change them back to whatever structure they were in before. So what I'll just do is just to hit with previous, and I believe it's okay. Increase the timing a little bit. No, it's okay like that. Yeah, it's okay like that. So that's it for this slide. And now I'm going to show you guys how to actually add two animations to one element. Okay, so now which slide did I actually do that? This slide. Okay, now you could see how much animations this slide has. Let me play them all first. Alright, now can you guess which elements have two animations? Well, I guess the answer is already on the screen. If you wanted to pause the video and guess, good luck with that, but the answer is on the screen, because if you notice, some elements have two like rectangles placed on top of each other. Those are elements with two animations. So how do we make an element have, or how do we add two animations or three to a single element? I'm going to show you guys. So for this slide, this one, I'm just going to take a particular element because majority of what happened on this slide is flying, wipe, fade, flying, okay, which I talked about in the previous slide. Remember, flying has an effect option. You could choose which effect you want from it. As the name implies, so are the effects. So now I want this. I'm going to duplicate this particular element. I'm going to create a new slide because I just want to talk about adding multiple animations to one object. Okay, we have the new slide here. Select everything, delete. Take my element and I drop it here. Okay, now I'm going to make it big so that we focus on just this dude. Okay, now I'm going to remove the animations on it and show you how it's done. So now you have to bear in mind, if you're going to add different animations to a single element, there are three types of animations. Remember, entrance, emphasis, and exit. So you're just going to think about it like I'm coming in, make an emphasis, and I'm leaving. So how do we make this virus come in, make an emphasis, and leave? So for it to come in, let's just make it let's say fade. Okay, now it's in. Now to add an emphasis to this animation, let's add the emphasis theta. Okay, now if you notice, as I clicked theta, my fade is gone. You see? So how do we fix that? Well, let's see, what do we do? Let's remove our theta animation. Now to fix this, hit fade. Okay, now instead of going to your emphasis tab and selecting theta, you select the same object and hit add animation, then you select theta. Okay, so we have two animations now. After the virus fades in, theta, how does it leave the stage? We give him an exit, so we add an animation and allow him to fade out. Okay, so quickly let's just make them after previous. Okay, after previous, and this after previous. Okay, so that it comes in like this, comes in, thetas, and fades out. There we go. So I hope you're able to learn something from this. Now remember, like in the previous first slide on the zoom, was it zoom, grow and shrink? I don't know why I keep saying zoom. we could increase the duration to the end of the slide. Okay, so here it's up to you. You could choose to increase the duration of the emphasis. Emphasis animations have that option. I believe most emphasis animation, if not all, have the options to extend their durations to the end of the slide, but it all depends on you. You could choose to insert an entrance, emphasis, and exit animation. So this thing I did to this element, it's very similar to what I did here, but I didn't add any exit, so that they just came in like this, and they kept on tethering till I decide they need to stop. Okay, so if I'm explaining coronavirus, the virus is mainly spread during close contact. There are respiratory droplets produced when people cough or sneeze. If I'm explaining something on this, it's going to keep tethering until I decide to say, okay, we're done, next time. Okay, all right, that's all about adding multiple animations to one element. The same thing was done here. It's basically the same thing in all the slides. Basically the same thing. Now I'll bring this slide to your attention here because I used the wipe animation, which is an entrance animation, and I made the effect from left. What I've just shown you guys is the core for animating. Okay, now I'm going to give a bonus for those that stay to the end of this video, because I'm going to give a bonus right now. If you paid attention, you would notice that when I played the animation of this particular slide, everything that came in from the left, it looked like they just came in, they popped in from somewhere. How? Because if you try this, I assure you that your COVID-19 or whatever text you put here won't just come in like this. This is possible because I put a shape here. You see this? That's the code. That is the code. So without this shape here, let me just remove it to control. What do I do? Just delete it. Then I play this. See how it looks. You see? But with my shape in there, this is how it looks. It's cleaner and more professional. So that's tip number one for those that stay to the end. And the second tip goes to this. Now you could choose to do two things. You could see here it has multiple, just to show you that this particular element has multiple animations. So remember that they are exit animations. You could choose to use them, or if you don't have the time, like I did in this slide, you could choose to replace them with another thing called transitions. Now these transitions are sort of like from the name, but I always see them as little animations to move from one slide to the other. Okay, so if you're an Office 365 subscribed member, you would have morph, but without being Office 365 subscribed, you won't have morph transitions on your PowerPoint. So I didn't use that because I know some of you might not be subscribed. So I used what did I use in most of it? Fade. And I think I love fade so much. So how does this work? Okay, so if I can't, let me just do something real quick. Okay, to show you guys. Okay, I just disconnected my laptop from the screen, my external screen. So to show you guys these transitions, I'm going to delete all the extras I made to explain explain it. Okay, so I made this one to show you guys. Alright, so now viewing this presentation in full screen, this is what it looks like. Okay, by the way, if you need this template, just leave a comment or drop a comment saying send me this template and I'll send it to you. Now if you see, this is what's going to happen as you're presenting. It keeps growing and shrinking till I decide, okay, stop. Excuse me. Okay, so now next slide. You see this? Did you see that? You saw how it all like whitened up or something. It faded through. Okay, this is the fade transition. Usually without fade transition, if I hit none here on this, and here I hit none, okay, and here I hit none, okay, then I hit slideshow, okay, yes, this is playing, and next slide, see what happens. It just goes to the next slide. It's not smooth, okay, it hinders, like it's not smooth. In my opinion, it's like there's a disconnect between the slides. So it's always good to have a transition in between if you don't have the time to insert all the exit animations to each element, because if you're going to be inserting exit animations, if I insert an entrance animation for my COVID-19, I have to insert an exit animation for my COVID-19. So that's how the work is. If you have the time to do that, great, there's nothing wrong with it, go ahead. But if you're in a hurry and don't have that time, replace them with transitions and they work better and smoother. So hope you were able to learn something from this video. Hope you were able to understand the basics of animations, because all I covered here are very simple animations. I didn't go into anything advanced. This is something simple that anyone that wants to make any kind of animation in your slides, or when you're explaining to in a conference or in a seminar, you need to make an animation just to make your PowerPoint presentation look better. You could use these ideas that I've given you, play with them, mix them as you wish. Remember, the time you could use is 0.5 to 0.1, maximum 1.5 or 2. So go to 0.2, 0.5 if you want, at least animate as long as you wish. So remember to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share it with anyone that needs to learn how to animate their slides, and be a good help to someone else, or be a good help to someone in need. Thank you.